Hi, I'm Jeannine Osayande. They call me Mama Jeannine or Miss Jeannine. I'd like to share with you a story called The Birthday Party Story. This is part of a series, a collection that I have that are stories that come from the historically black neighborhood of Swarthmore. That's where we're standing today. As a matter of fact, this is my childhood home where I grew up. I also raised my children, and my grandchildren even lived here a little bit when they were small. But today I'd like to share a story that almost to me was like a dream. You ever have one of those dreams where you're flying all of a sudden through the sky, or maybe a dream where you just wake up and you're in the middle of an ocean and you're just moving deep, deep, deep in the depths of the ocean? So the birthday party story was like a dream to me. But let's find out what happened. So there I was. It was 1972. I was 11 years old in 6th grade, and my best friend was going to have a birthday party. Now, back in those days, when you had a birthday party, you always received an invitation to go, and you would put on a nice outfit, a nice dress. And so I go to school, and all the girls are outside playing. And some of them come running up and said, we got our invitation. We got our invitation to the birthday parties. And so I was excited. I knew then that there'd be an invitation for me. So another day passes, and now we're in art class. And some of the girls at the art table start talking about the birthday party and that they're going to go to this birthday party. And suddenly I realized, well, wait a minute. I haven't gotten an invitation. So then the very next day when school was out, and the path that connects where the school is to where my house is, you just go through the woods down a path and there's my house, right? So I would run down that path and run to the mailbox each day and look, hoping that there would be an invitation for me. Every single day, the whole week and into the next week, I would run home and open up that mailbox to see. But every day that I checked, there was no invitation for me. Soon I began to get a little nervous, and the time was ticking and we were getting closer to the date. And right when it was my last hope to even be able to go, on that Thursday, I ran down the path and again opened up that mailbox and I looked inside, and there was no invitation for me. Now, you have to remember it was the 1970s. And during that time, maybe I started to think that they didn't want me to be at the birthday party because I'm black. The thing was, this was a really good friend. She was like my best friend in 6th grade. And so I knew that maybe there was a mistake. But then Friday came. And the party was going to be on Saturday, and I wasn't sure what to do. Now, I knew that if they only knew me, if the parents knew me, if the mom knew me, she would invite me to the party. But I got no invitation. And so I decided, you know what? I like cake, and they're my friends, and that was my best friend, and I should be invited to the party. And then I also thought, well, I'm black, and maybe they don't want me in the house because I'm black, but maybe that's not how people should be treated. And so if they only knew me, I'll be able to show them that that's not the right way. So I went to my mom, and I told her I was invited to the birthday party. She fussed that I waited so late to tell her about a party that was going to be the next day. I told her, don't worry, I already confirmed. And so she gave me some money. I ran uptown. I bought a card from the Hallmark store and went to another store, the craft store, and bought a gift. And we wrapped it up. And then Saturday came. And that morning I got up. My sister had left early. So I snuck in her drawer because she had the best clothing ever. And I grabbed out her gaucho pants with the thick belt and the boots that would match and the high collar top. And I put that outfit on and I was looking great. So I gathered up my gifts and my mom and I walked out and we got in the car and we drove to the birthday party. Now, it really started to settle with me that maybe I shouldn't just show up at a party uninvited, but I was committed. So we arrive at the house. Still, my mother has no idea about what I was doing. I get out of the car, get my gift and my card, and I begin walking. And as I get to the first step, and I take that step, my stomach starts to rumble, and I start to think, oh no, what are you doing? You're showing up at a party uninvited. But I was committed, and I like cake, and they should not keep me out of a party because I'm black. So I take the second step. When I get up to the second step, my knees start to wobble and my shoulders, and I'm just feeling weak. And I kind of look over and I smile and wave to my mom, and she waves back, still none the wiser. I get up to the third step. Then I get to the fourth step. On the fourth step, I'm about to vomit in my own mouth. I'm so scared. But I get to that landing. I walk up to the door and cut. I knock on the door. Trembling, I stand there with the gift, not knowing what would happen. And the door opens. And who should be at the door but the mom? She's looking at me. I'm looking at her. And we both know what just happened. I see my friends in the background eating their Pop Rocks, laughing and playing, and I wanted to get in there too. But it was silence. Then the mother slowly opens the door and she invites me in. I walk in, I see all my friends waving, and they're glad I'm there, but they knew I didn't get an invitation. So some of them were so rude, and they even were like, Rachel, because that's what they called me when I was little, my first name. Rachel, you came to the party, but you didn't get an invite. The others didn't mind, and we spent the rest of the day playing and going outside to play softball, because that was a big thing in the 70s to do as a group. So we all went to play softball. We had cake and ice cream, and we sang. And even when I was upstairs at one point with my friend's older sister looking at her magazines and talking, she brought up the fact that I came to the birthday party uninvited. I was embarrassed about it, but I also knew I should be there and I should not be kept out because I'm black. So the day went on. The next day, Sunday, the next day, Monday, now we're back at school. Back at school, some folks had heard what had happened, that I showed up at the party and didn't have an invite. But over time, it settled and it went away. And I was pretty embarrassed that maybe I shouldn't have been so bold. How could I even be bold? I was a shy person then. So I just let it go and I put it out of my memory. And suddenly it fit into that category. You know that category of dreams, like a dream, like when you're flying in the air all of a sudden, or that other dream where you wake up and you're just in the middle of an ocean, just sort of floating in the ocean. So I put the birthday party story in that category of dreams. It did not happen. Time passes, and now I'm grown up, I'm a grandmother, and I'm taking care of my father. I go to visit him at a nursing home, and just when I was about to walk in to visit my father, who should be sitting directly across the hall in a wheelchair, staring at me, smiling and saying, "Hi, Rachel." And when I turned around, it was my best friend's mother. She looked at me, and I looked at her, and right in that instant, I remembered the birthday party story. It all rushed back 40 years later. We didn't speak again. Then she reached out her hand. She took my hand. And she said, do you remember the birthday party? Hey! I took her hand and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to approach this. She was an elderly woman and she was a beautiful mother, a good mother. So I didn't want to stir anything up with her at this point. She said, I just want to apologize for what happened. She went on to say that there wasn't enough money to buy enough food to invite everybody, so they had to have a short list, not a long list, but she was glad that I came. I thought about her apology and I accepted it because I knew that although she wasn't completely straight with the explanation, in her heart she was. She had thought about it all these years. After that, when I go and visit my dad, I would go over and hang out with my best friend's mother. We would be in the room looking at pictures and laughing and talking and just getting to know each other now in the present. My father would come stand at the door sometimes and, well, he'd be in a wheelchair, but he wheeled to the door and he'd say, come on in here, you came to visit me. So, after our lovely visits, time passes, and I begin to reflect and think about that. Think about how could something so big in my life, how could I forget it? But what I really remember in this story is it was an opportunity that I grabbed as a young person to be bold. And being bold has served me well throughout my life. It has allowed me to be quiet and sit down, and it has allowed me to stand up and speak out. The birthday party story. Thank you. Hi, I'm Jeannine Osayande with Dunia Performing Arts Company. Welcome to my house. We're here in the historically Black neighborhood of Swarthmore. I'd like to share with you a poem called Where I'm From. This is part of a series of work that I'm doing called Making a Homeplace, where I go into my family and community to collect stories about how do we thrive and survive living in the historically Black neighborhood of Swarthmore. So, where I'm from. I am from black cast iron pans, from the ancestor table in my childhood home, where I raised my family next in line. From Malayan, Bogolone, mudcloth, and indigo fabrics given to me in grace from my mentor, Sandy Sparrow Wilkinson, who believed in me when I did not believe in myself. And she crowned me a genius. I am from the Great Migration, the historically Black neighborhood of Swarthmore, with family roots that are 7 generations strong. I am from spontaneous porch parties, hydrangea felt legacies. I am from nosy, pull back the curtain, peek out the window, looking at you folks who also looked out for you. I am from making a home place. We don't survive, we thrive. I am from generations and generations of African Americans who made Swarthmore their home place. I am from the segregated neighborhood of Swarthmore, now desegregated, historically Black, now gentrified neighborhood of Swarthmore. I am from the maids, the chefs, the gardeners, the carriage drivers, the butlers, the nannies of Swarthmore's white folks who couldn't live the American dream without Black folks serving as scaffolders of white folks' success and well-being. I am from the stars. I am from the McCorkle Tree Farm, the cabin in the mountains, summer ferry boat rides to Atlantic City, piled tight high in that big green station wagon, looking backwards, moving forwards, Atlantic City, Chicken Bone Beach bound. I am from the smell of fresh cut spring dandelions, of green grass, I am from Brighton Avenue block parties and the neighborhood where you better not hang your clothes out on Sunday. I am from 25-cent basement parties, dancing to James Brown, hair go back, boogie down, get down in the basement. I am from sitting underneath the old folks, ear hustling and collecting precious stories, like collecting fireflies in the summertime twilight. And from when you see an elder in the neighborhood, speak first and recognize. I am from a beautiful Quaker community. I am from a community where the Lenape Nation were ripped from their land. I am from amens and hallelujahs and the Swarthmore Wesley AME church folks. I am from the descendants who frequented Jones Hall, a sanctuary for the town folks, the black folks that is, now flattened to the foundation, then rebuilt, holding long ago memories of black social groups, sporting teams, religious gatherings, and one of the borough's first black families and one of Swarthmore's first families, the Jones family. I am from Donald Lee, the first black police chief of Swarthmore, and Betty Ann Wilson, activist, educator, and the first black councilwoman of Swarthmore in the 1990s. I am from my namesake, from Great Aunt Rachel Warren, who graduated with a chemistry degree from the first class of scholars at Delaware State College in 1934. I am from diasporic African drum and dance traditions, the art of black dance and music, from African dance teachers who held me up and believed in me, even when I did not believe in myself. I am the movement that makes the dance, the beats that make the drum, the heart that is the home, the heat crackling smell of wood, the taste of Nana's delicious, hot, bubbling cinnamon apple pie, fresh out the oven with a perfect crust. I am from the dreams and hopes of my ancestors, crisp moon-lit nights, sun-rich days, clouds, thunder, lightning, rain, and the taste of sweet, wet earth.